Hi dandelions, you are out on a morning walk with me this morning. I'm just chilling in this lush verdant green situation, processing a few thoughts that, I think some of them have been quite overdue, frankly, and some of them are kind of just filtering through to the surface and coming to my attention now, but I thought I would share some of my insights with you because I'm going through a bit of a shift at the moment. And shifting, for those of you who really feel like you've taken part in that, is not this incredible, overwhelmingly positive, beautifully illuminating thing that I guess a lot of people might imagine that it is. It's actually quite challenging, it's quite tough, it's quite painful. Some of the realizations that you need to come to and some of the work that you need to do, not to mention some of the things that you need to say, some of the truths that you need to get out there, are really tough and are really not the kind of thing that you ever really want to get on with. You know that the fruit of your labour is going to be so good and you're going to get so much sorted out and you're going to really evolve and really kind of spread your wings in a big way. But the challenging stuff, the parts where you need to be honest, the parts where you need to retreat and separate yourself from your social circle, from your associates, from your friends, so that you can really have that alone time, so you can really let your intuition filter to the top, that's difficult. And that can make you worry about being alienated. So I just wanted to say that, I really feel, for my part at least, that a big part of what it means to be spiritually centered is to be comfortable being on your own, to be comfortable being in your own company, and to know that you do not have to feel alone when you're in your own company. You do not. You can be your own best friend. Never ever forget that. You can hold your own hand. You're the only person that's been with you throughout everything. You're the only person that's always been there, that's never left your own side in any situation. And you are the person that needs to honour yourself, respect yourself, validate yourself, give yourself your own approval. Because it doesn't matter how many hundreds of other people do that for you in your life. If you can't do it for yourself, then everything that comes from an outside source is going to feel very hollow. Because you've still got that me-shaped hole within where you can't give yourself the nourishment and the nurturing and the belief that you need. And I really feel like a lot of the time there are all of these outside influences, this noise that prevents you from really understanding when a shift is coming, or even when it's trying to take place and you're just not giving it the time it needs. You need to sometimes pull yourself out, away from the circle that you're in, the situations that are unfolding. And frankly, lately, I've been really considering who deserves my emotional energy, deserves my time, what kind of situations I actually want to give myself to, and which are below me. Which do I not really have time for with everything else going on? What am I really trying to achieve in this life? And what is merely a distraction from the point? I think that's what needs to be decided. And I don't think you can decide that kind of thing unless you give yourself retreat, unless you give yourself reprieve from what I would call the outside world, in a sense. And the people that truly genuinely love you and care for you will give you that time. They will not demand overt explanations. They will not feel hurt. They will try not to feel alienated, because they will understand that if you're genuinely asking for that time and you're asking for that release from the bonds of the outside so that you can go within, that it's probably hard for you to ask for that, and it's probably hard for you to admit that you need that. But in doing so, you have been honest and you've been genuine, and they will appreciate that. The people that are afraid of the shift that's taking place inside of you, because they're afraid of some need possibly for a shift within themselves, or they just don't like change, or they have this certain expectation, a certain view of you, and they don't want you crushing it underfoot by evolving, essentially, those people are going to try and cajole you, and those people are going to try and convince you that the way that you want to do things is not the way that you should be doing things, and that it's unhealthy, or that you're becoming a hermit, or that it's laughable, that you might feel that you need to actually get away from everybody in order to assess what's going on in your own soul. But you have to be strong in your core being when you're asking for this time and when you're asking for this understanding. You can't be swayed at the first person who tries to tell you it's a bad idea, because then you'd never get anywhere, would you, with all the naysayers and with all the people in your life that, I suppose, as in mine, have kind of tried to keep me in one place. and try to keep me convinced that I'm still the Kellyanne I was a year ago. And, you know, I'm like, no, from deep down, no, I'm moving on, I'm moving up. I feel my wings expanding, and I'm sorry if that's an inconvenience to you, but I really need to go and do this. You know, I need to be transparent with myself. So I suppose ultimately what I'm saying is be alone. Schedule more time to be alone with yourself. Seriously, listen to the deep insights of your intuitive voice. Listen to how prepared you are to care for yourself and be there for yourself. And if you're not, question that, reassess that, ask yourself why that is. Ask yourself why the validation of somebody close to you is more important than your own innate approval. And guide yourself. Hold your own hand, really. Hold your own hand through the difficulties that you've been through. If you can't do that, just think about some of the difficulties you went through in the past and remember those, you know, long, dark nights of the soul when you really had to get yourself through it. No matter how many friends you've got around you, no matter how many people are prepared to help you and listen to you and take on your challenges with you, in the end, you are the person that decides whether you're going to get up off that floor or not. You're the person who decides whether you're going to put your glad rags on and go out and face it, or whether you're going to limp away wounded indefinitely and never heal and never really come through it. You know, you're the one that got you to where you are at this point now, from that place where you really felt you were rock bottom. So congratulate yourself for that. Give yourself some credit for that. God, I can think of so many people right now who need to just give themselves some credit for the beautiful work that they've already done. And I think a lot of the time for people who are spiritually centered or feel that they're working on their emotional development, their self-development all the time, and they're really assessing and they're really not drawing any hard and fast conclusions. They're really looking into themselves, and that's difficult work to do. I feel like a lot of people who do that kind of work are always looking at what the next goal is, and what needs to be achieved next, what they're fortifying themselves for, whether that's core feelings that they want to attain or core goals in the outer world that they want to attain. And I think that's fine, but I think that a lot can be said for actually looking back at what you've done with the past few years of your life, looking back at the challenges that you've already overcome, and really saying to yourself, well done, congratulations, that was awesome, good job. Because I think that that's part of it. That's part of the magic of it, is realizing that even to get to this point that you are now, where you're planning things and you're really giving your passion to things, whether you're shifting or whether you're happy with the status quo and you're maintaining that and you're using your strengths, your signature strengths and your core abilities to really maintain that, any way you look at it, the place you are now is a direct result of the places that you dragged yourself up from, like the grotty arse end of nowhere that you ended up once because you trusted the wrong person, or you didn't trust yourself, or you didn't know yourself. Sometimes when I think about the difficulties that I've been through, and I think it is stuff that I'm going to talk about on the channel, because I really feel that it's probably the most helpful stuff I can put out there. You know, I think it's even more helpful for some people to know that others have been through crap and to get some kind of a roadmap on how they survived it, than it is to explain the ins and outs of some complex theory of tarot, really. I mean, I think putting yourself out there, in a sense, is a beautiful thing to do for others that may have been down a similar road and maybe at a different stage of their transition. But when I think about some of the crap that I've been through and the things I've pulled myself out from, I really enjoy now giving myself credit, and I really enjoy looking at how that's helped me to evolve to how I am now. And when my mum used to say to me, God, I'm so proud of you, Kellyanne, you've been through so much, and she'd get kind of teary thinking about the past and thinking about what an unhealthy, sick little puppy I used to be, and how affected I was, and how desperate I was to die, to literally check out and not live anymore. When she used to give me that recognition, I used to shy away from her. I used to blush. I used to chide her. I used to say, oh, Mum, shut up, you're drunk. Stop being so silly, you know. Whenever she'd try and have a serious conversation with me about how afraid she used to be of losing me when I was going through everything that I was going through, I used to shy away from that. I used to kind of either be embarrassed by that or feel like I didn't deserve her recognition. Whereas now I am my own cheerleader. I am. And I still have a lot of humility, and I still know that I have a long way to go. But you need to be your own cheerleader in this life. You need to at least recognise your own achievements. Because like I said, it doesn't matter how many people come and go. You need to recognise your own. That's where the magic is. If you have those friends in life that you know would take the bus with you when the limo breaks down, that's great. But Be your own friend. Take the bus with yourself. Understand that no matter who comes and goes in life, no matter who unexpectedly dies, because that can happen, God, I know that, no matter what happens, that you can be your own friend. You can be your own advocate. You can be your own teacher. You can be your own guide. You can draw on the well of the knowledge that you already have. Just have a look at the incredible myriad of lessons you've already learned, the things you've already done and been through. You can chart your own territory. You can move forward with confidence. You can believe that you've learned so much and that you have the capacity to learn so much more, that you are not powerless to change your situation. Be your own advocate. Advocate your own desires. Advocate your own power. Recognise it. So, yeah, I guess, retreat, reprieve, silence, that's what I'm currently looking for. That's what I'm finding, especially right now, aside from the sound of my own voice. But I'm just processing thoughts that I would have been processing anyway, so. But I just feel that it's so important. I feel that we need to give ourselves that time alone. And I really need to question, I don't know about any of you, but during this time of epic shifting, I need to question what needs to be cut out of my life. And as I said, a lot of people are afraid of that, but you can't live your life thinking about those people who are afraid that they're going to lose you or that you're judging them. It's not about that. It's about you shaping your life, carving out your reality so that you emit as much distraction as humanly possible, so that you set your priorities and keep your promises to yourself, keep your bloody promises to yourself. Because I think that's really important, and I think it's something that so many of us overlook when we're so concerned with how other people feel, the petty dramas we need to deal with, a lot of which we did not even invite. They just came into our lives and now we have to sort them out for no good reason. Dealing with people that aren't necessarily on the same emotional level as you and might need quite a lot of reassurance, or they might misinterpret things completely. They might take your personal truth and take what you've said and distort it into a load of ridiculously incomprehensible propaganda, and then you need to sort that out. Or you feel like you need to be around your friends as much as you were before because that's the status quo, and a lot of people like to uphold that, don't they? A lot of people like to maintain that at any cost because they're afraid of the idea of change and the idea of moving on. I think it's really easy to put off the conscious shifting that you need to do in your life for years because you're trying to appease other people, because you're trying to comfort other people and make sure that they feel safe and make sure that they're not worried by, this reckless action that you're taking or this retreating that you need to do. It's very easy to get caught up in the group that you're a part of, the family structure that you're trying to uphold, the peace that you're trying to keep, the friends that you're trying to maintain those strong bonds with because of the memories that have been sown. Yes, all of that stuff is important, but are you going to let it get in the way, essentially, of a shift which really needs your energy behind it? It needs you to advocate it. A shift is like a spark in a lots of ways. Sometimes, yeah, a shift blindsides you completely unexpectedly, and it's something that it's a complete roller coaster. You literally are strapped in, you can't do anything about it. But this shift for me has come on slow, and it's been something where I've been trying to battle my intuitive responses to certain things, and I've been trying to ignore my needs and pretend that what I need is not really what I need, because I don't know how to explain it to other people. I don't know how to explain to people that I need to go off, I need to retreat. None of this stuff is good for me. These people do not serve me. These situations do not serve me. I love you all on an individual basis, but together it's a big nightmare and I can't deal with it. They're difficult things to say. That's a difficult truth to speak, and it's a difficult thing to follow through with, particularly if you love the people that you hang out with. And I do. There's a big draw for me to those people, but I have to appreciate how unhealthy this is for me sometimes, and how distracting and how superfluous it is when I think about the priorities that I have and where I want to go, both in the inner world and in the outer world, and those things need to take precedence. And so eventually you do need to stand strong in your personal truth and do what needs to be done. And it's hard to be alone. It's hard not to have those voices of approval echoing back at you when you're looking for them, or those voices of warning or caution, or just the laughter, the good fun, just kind of enjoying letting go with a bunch of people who love having a great time. Yes, it's difficult to leave all of that behind for a time, but I know that that's what I need to do. And when you know that's what you need to do, those shifts that come on slowly, that are not kind of like a brick to the face, but are more kind of like waiting. They're waiting for you to actually commit to bring the shift into being. Some shifts are like sparks. You can leave that spark to its own devices and not give it any kindling and not give it any nurturing, but don't expect it to make a roaring fire, because it just won't. It will die out if it's not given any fuel, if it's not given any nurturing, it will die out. Mark my words on that. And I think there's a great many sparks of potential change that we can all think of right now in our own lives that have actually not stood the test of time and did extinguish, because we did not give them what they needed to really get that oxygen to fuel into something more meaningful. So I think this shift for me is a case of actually literally getting on board. It's like I'm saying, okay, right, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to stop BSing myself. I'm ready to speak my personal truth, regardless of who or who may not understand it or advocate it. I'm ready to get on board with this shift. I understand the diligent effort that's going to be involved, and I'm ready to roll. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Because I want this. I want this despite the challenges that it's going to pose. And really, if you're at that point in your life where you're asking yourself, where the hell do I sign? Then congratulations to you, because I really understand what you've been through to get to this point where you are agreeing with yourself that you need to bring this shift into being, that you can't ignore it anymore. You want to give your energy over to it. You want to make certain commitments and sacrifices to actually ensure that it lives and that it does its work for you. It's a difficult place. The where do I sign phase is tough. So well done. Let me pat you on the back while I'm at it, because you've done well. And long may this continue, and long may you evolve, and long may you recognize that a lot of the shit you're going through, the struggles you're going through to strengthen your wings up, so that when you push free of that chrysalis, when you go clear, you will fly. You will not fall down and die and be limp, and you will not be unable to find your home, to eke out a life for yourself, and to feel that you are beautiful and you did get through something. You know, that struggle that occurs before the where do I sign moment, that's you strengthening up your wings. Do not discredit that part of the journey. Do not try to skip past it. Do not try to cover over it. Do not try to run under it or pretend it's not happening. Go through it. Go through it, because it is the moment that your wings strengthen. It's a struggle, that part, because you're really strengthening up. You're toughening up for flying free, for getting clear. And it's a beautiful time in your life, so don't miss a moment of it. Take a snapshot of it. Have a look at where you are at this moment. Don't waste it. Confirm it for yourself. Advocate yourself. Appreciate wherever you are in your own journey. Appreciate it. Show yourself the love. And remember, you know, that all of the flowers of tomorrow are the seeds of today. There's something happening right now that's going to evolve into something else. Do not reject the idea of spending a lot of time to try and achieve something, because that time is going to pass anyway, and then you're going to wish that you'd really done it. So just, you know, from my heart to yours, I love you all. I think you're all on incredible, unique journeys, and sometimes it's important to remember that for yourself and acknowledge that for yourself. Much love, people. Blessed be.